Emily Sanders always thought she had life figured out. At 34, she was married to David, a hard-working manager at a construction firm, and they shared a comfortable home in Dallas, Texas. Together, they had built a life many admired. On the outside, everything seemed strong, but inside their marriage, cracks were slowly beginning to show. Emily was passionate, full of dreams, and deeply emotional. She worked as an interior designer, pouring her energy into turning spaces into havens. David, however, had grown increasingly distant over the years. His long hours, constant exhaustion, and lack of communication weighed heavily on their bond. The bigger issue wasn't just the silence, it was the absence of emotional connection. Emily longed for conversation, laughter, and support, but David often seemed consumed by work stress. Their dinners were quiet, their weekends repetitive, and she began to feel invisible in her own home. One afternoon, Emily was assigned a project for a corporate office renovation. That's when she met Michael Turner, a client liaison for the firm. Michael was in his late 30s, charismatic, and attentive in ways that startled Emily. He really listened when she explained her design choices. He complimented her creativity, respected her time, and always followed up with appreciation. At first, Emily dismissed her feelings as simple gratitude. But with each meeting, she noticed the difference between Michael's attentiveness and David's neglect. When she presented her first design draft, Michael said, "You didn't just design an office, you created a place people will want to belong to." The words touched her deeper than she expected. Days turned into weeks. Emily found herself excited about work again, partly because of the project and partly because of Michael's encouraging presence. He wasn't bigger or stronger physically, what struck her was how much bigger his compassion felt, how much stronger his empathy was, and how his energy was beyond anything she had felt in years. At home, David noticed Emily's lighter mood but never asked why. Their conversations remained shallow, and Emily's heart began to ache with the realization that the man she once leaned on was slipping further away. The turning point came one rainy evening. Emily and Michael had to stay late finalizing project details. The storm delayed their rides, so they sat in the conference room, talking beyond work. Emily opened up about her passion for art, her struggles in balancing family and career, and her fading marriage. Michael didn't judge or pry, he simply offered understanding. "You deserve to feel seen," he said softly. "Everyone does." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. She wasn't crying for Michael, she was crying for herself, for the years she had gone unnoticed. That night, she realized she was standing at a crossroads, either let her marriage keep drifting into emptiness or confront the truth. Emily chose courage. She went home, sat with David, and for the first time in years, spoke honestly. She told him she felt invisible, unsupported, and lonely. At first, David was defensive, but as her words spilled out, he broke down too. He admitted he had buried himself in work because he feared failing as a provider. His silence had been his way of coping, though it cost them both dearly. Over the weeks that followed, Emily and David sought counseling. It wasn't easy, there were setbacks, arguments, and tears, but slowly, they began rebuilding their bond. Emily also made a difficult decision to distance herself from Michael. Though he had reminded her what emotional strength looked like, she knew her commitment belonged at home. Months later, standing in the very office she had designed, Emily looked at her work with pride. The project was complete, but more importantly, she had faced truths bigger, stronger, and beyond anything she thought she could endure. Her story wasn't about betrayal, it was about rediscovery, courage, and the painful yet rewarding journey of choosing to fight for love rather than let it fade away. Emily realized that sometimes, life places people in your path not to break your world apart but to remind you what you're missing, and to push you toward healing. In the end, the bigger love wasn't outside her marriage, it was inside it, waiting to be rebuilt.